Right, welcome back. I don't know what's happened with that intro. Um, can only apologise, but we are here. It should have run normally. Apparently, it hasn't. Very weird. Good start. And Paolo, I don't know if you're frozen. I don't know what's going on now.
I'm not frozen, but you're lagging a bit.
Okay, sick. This is a great start then. Listen, we're still in experimental phase. We're going to apologise for last week straight away because that was
Stinker,
terrible.
stinker,
Um,
stinker.
Possibly the worst we've done ever.
I think we've actually put that episode on private. It was that bad.
Yeah, so you can't even find it. Maybe in the future we'll bring it back, but that was bad.
I think
As
I
you
think
see, we're
just
coming
before
up
you
with
go
stuff
into
now.
it is worth mentioning, Connor. You there?
Yep.
It's worth mentioning that my face moved less in that episode than Pete Dot. Is it Pete Doherty with the lip filler and all of that? Yeah, his face probably moved a lot more than I did. Do you know what I mean? It's mental, like mental. But we listen. We're here through the good times. We're here through the bad times. Yeah, we are here for boxing this week, though, man.
Yes, we are, and I feel like it might be me this week that's having internet problems, which is sick. Um, just getting a hunch. I'm closing anything that I don't need open down.
What have we?
Listen,
Where are we streaming tonight, Connor?
we're on YouTube tonight. In future, we'll try and be back on Instagram and all that rest of it. But for now, we're
We're
just doing
streaming
YouTube
across
only.
Just Hook Casuals.
Yeah, yeah, but we can do
Welcome,
more
Letty.
actually.
What's that?
Can do more. We can do more if we
Yeah.
want to, I think. So, um, yeah, right. Let's do this the normal way. We're kind of back into it a little bit now. Let's go ahead and get the weekly roundup done, and then let's talk about. I think really there's only one thing to talk about, but we'll get to that very quickly. Um, Benavidez beats David Morrell. I mean, I was wrong. I mean, you kind of sat on the fence with that. Pretty sensible, given how the fight went.
How you doing, Letty? You good? Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Given how the fight went, that's pretty sensible. Morrell dropped him in the 11th round, bit of a surprise. But Benavidez, I don't think still didn't impress me that much. He did do
Benavidez
well.
is third ranked in the light heavyweight division as it stands, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here in the fact that I've not been massively impressed by the two performances now.
Yeah.
But the rankings are the rankings. They are their own body that make their own decisions, and a lot of the time are wrong. However, because of activity and stuff like that, I kind of agree with where, because even if you talk about activity within the light heavyweights, a lot of them haven't been as active as maybe people would like outside of Bivol, even Bivol Beterbiev. That division is slow moving, I want to call it, for fights.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you say, outside of those two, I mean, they're the only ones really doing it. I guess Boatsie's kind of doing it now. Callum Smith,
Yard
obviously,
and
looks
Lindenhoff, Anthony Yard and Lindenhoff have just announced a fight.
true. True.
So we'll
It's one of the
see.
more active divisions, but it's still a little slow. Like we still want a bit more, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like
Um,
boxing started that way this year. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know.
True. I mean, it's no, you're right. It's been really slow. But listen, so Benavidez has beaten David Morrell. He will fight the winner. Well, he'd fight Beterbiev. Beterbiev wins. If Bivol wins, then I imagine it will be Bivol Beterbiev again for the trilogy before Benavidez steps in. But we got a lot to look forward to in that respect because either one of those is a good fight. So I'm not too fussed. But Benavidez, I'm not massively impressed by him yet. I feel like we're all in the same boat with that. He still doesn't look as good as he did at super middle. Then we've got Isaac Cruz, who coming off of a bit of an upset loss, came back, he won. I don't think he looked great, but he still won. And we've got Stephen Fulton beating Brandon Figueroa for the second time in his career in the Timberlands and the jorts. He looked fucking cool, man. I mean, not just like his boxing was brilliant as well, and he now two-weight world champion. He's going to wait for Noah there, but not just that. Just did it in style, which is really what boxers should be trying to do, because it didn't affect his performance. He boxed as well as he possibly could, but because he looked cool, that's the bit that's gone viral. And then it's like, oh, by the way, yeah, this guy also won a world title that night. His profile's just massively raised just from that alone. Then we got Janibek is defending his middleweight titles. Obviously, he wanted to fight Hamza Shiraz. That didn't happen. Shiraz is fighting Adames at the end of the month. Janibek is defending his title against somebody whose name might have every letter of the alphabet in it, so I'm not even going to attempt to say it.
Conor butchers names. That's what he does on Hook Casuals.
A little bit, but big respect to the guy. Janibek is just defending his IBF and WBO. And then finally on the weekly roundup, before we get to the really good bits of the week, Delicious Ori signs with Queensbury. Obviously a very disappointing Olympics, but one of the best amateurs, heavyweight amateurs we've had.
Stinker of an Olympics for boxing, though, isn't it?
But yeah, a British boxing in the Olympics was just all round shit. So
stinky.
Can't really blame.
Before we get into the boxing, Connor.
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing. I think that you might be going for a new job, from what I can see. Am I right?
Might be going for a new job.
Because you look like you are ready to take some tires off on the side of an F1 track. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. It's giving me F1 engineer.
I see.
No, I'm only joking.
These things are comfy. These things are comfy, man. But I still get the dent, which is annoying. I'm gonna have that little.
Wait, we're gonna talk. That dent's crazy. Elisoro put a photo up of that. I laugh when he put it up.
Oh.
That dent's mad. I need to get Ellis to send me the photo of it again, if he can find it, because the dent you're gonna have in your head is crazy.
No, I know.
You're gonna be looking like one of them guys like Alien and Predator. Seriously, man. Like what new species of humans? Prometheus.
Actually, bad. I know. I wear a headset all day as well because I'm on the phone at work. So.
Oh my god, you might even
these are
have
bad boys. They're heavy.
If you get rid of that fringe, your head shape's revealed. It's crazy. Be careful, Connor. Be careful.
Never happening, is it? So that's you're more exposed. I can cover it up with hair.
Why am I more exposed?
Got no hair, mate. Well, you got hair, but like...
I do. I have hair. It is going on one side though. If you seen on that side, crazy. Okay. But I hear what you're saying, man. But I just thought for a little funny segment in. We've had a stinker the last couple of weeks.
This is already better. This is already better than last week. I mean, nothing's going to be. To be honest,
let's not jinx it, Connor. Let's not jinx it.
No, but it is. We've got what, 5 minutes? How long have we been going? 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Letty said you're joining Ferrari with Lewis. That is hilarious.
Mate, the money on that, I'd be there. Not a chance.
Connor's changing tires with his weird head shape. Pause.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, nice. I didn't even think about it as you said pause. Right. Anyway, let's get into the boxing and stop talking about my weird head. Anyway, pause. Azim beats Lipinets. Not the best fight, but a pretty dominant performance. I don't know if you watched it.
I was doing the interviews, Connor. Did you not see me?
No. Wait. What?
Martin Bakole, Ben Shalom, for DFC. I went down with them to do media.
Oh shit! Nice.
I will get it collabed so it goes on our channel as well. I'll sort that out later on. But I interviewed Ben Shalom, Martin Bakole, Callum Simpson, Johnny Nelson. That one's to come out.
Cool. That's very cool.
A couple of episodes, but I will get them collabed onto the Hook's channels tonight, Hook Casuals channel tonight.
Yeah, that's it. Well,
and you guys can check it out if you go on the Instagram page. But interesting, yes, interesting.
So obviously, Paolo saw the fights then, but I didn't know you did that. I think you mentioned it. I forgot.
I mentioned that I was going down for DFC, Don's Fight Club. Check them out and check us out as well. And make sure you subscribe. Secondly, make sure you subscribe to DFC. But first and most importantly, while we're here today, like, share, and subscribe. Please smash that button, man, because we are back. We're not going to have stinkers now.
No, that's going to be better.
This is going to be better. We've had, as I said to you, it's been bad the last few weeks. But we go again. This is our January the 1st.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, I got down there. I saw Adam Azim. Hassan Azim as well spoke to a couple of their friends who were there to watch the weigh-in. Had a chat with a few boxing heads down there, man. Yeah, interesting. Johnny Nelson actually said something really interesting to me though, because they're pushing that Dalton Smith fight. But Johnny Nelson was saying that it's time. He doesn't need to take that fight now.
Well, so that's really where I was going to go with the questions. It's about, do you think he's even ready for that?
Do you know what it is? I think he's good enough to box him 100%.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily about him not being ready. But you want to build that fight up to have the most money possible for both boxers and to be on the biggest show, headlining, ideally, in it, or be at the top, near the top, headlining. So, although they could fight next, logistically, it doesn't make sense, in my opinion. The fight's not been built up enough. So, for me, I think they just got to build the fight up. And I'm saying that you could even build it up from now for the end of the year and they get some fights in between. Obviously, Azim's got an IBO title now.
Yeah.
That carries weight. Do you know what I mean? In terms of just because he's got a title now. So it's an interesting fight. I think Adam Azim's a really good boxer. I don't think he stepped a foot wrong. And I don't know where Connor's gone, but I'm going to carry on. I don't think that he stepped a foot wrong in what he's doing.
Yeah.
Connor, you've disappeared off the screen.
I know, mate. This is the highlight feature.
Right. Okay.
I probably should have said before I did it. That's my bad. But
I'm going to carry on because Connor's directing this and it's crazy right now. I don't think so. For me, I think Adam Azim is as I said to you, top talent. He's not looking at, how do I put it? He's not looking at that fight saying that he can't do it. It's just necessarily timing. So when we're looking at timing, does he need to take that fight now? Probably not. But he doesn't need to take it because he doesn't want it. It's got to be logistically a massive fight for both of them where they earn the most money possible. This is all about money, man. It has to be. Like, money is a big thing in this conversation now. No one's fighting for a world title or having a big fight if they're not getting paid the correct money. It doesn't make any sense.
No, you're right. And I think because of a comment that's just come in and the topic of money and fights that don't really make sense, but money's going to drive them, let's very quickly, let's move on to the Canelo versus Crawford.
Exactly. Letty, I will be on mute next. Connor's doing some crazy work right now.
No, look, this is sick. I can just be like, oh, Paolo's talking, cool. I'm talking, cool.
But but Letty, do you know what he does? He didn't tell me that he was doing that, so I was confused. I thought he just disappeared. There we go. Anyway, we move.
Anyway, but look, we've just had a comment from Crawford's load, and I don't have the rest of it, so that sounds mental, actually. That is my bad. But saying that Canelo ruins him. How is someone called Crawford's Loaded Gloves saying Canelo ruins him?
Well, he's just being honest, though. He's being honest. Like, okay, here it is. Yeah, let's actually talk about this. Yeah, because supposedly this fight's been agreed for 13th of September, if I'm not wrong. Hasn't actually been confirmed yet, though.
It's been signed.
Not publicly confirmed, though, which means there's still some details that they're going through. So when I see the poster up, is when I'm going to believe it's going to happen.
Okay.
But yes, it's been signed. It's been signed. In terms of boxing, Crawford, for me, it's mad because he's moving up to fight Canelo. Yeah. So let's look at it like this: if Crawford can move the way he does at the weight he's at now and moves at the weight at 168, is he a better boxer right now than Canelo? I would say so. A boxer, but who carries more power is Canelo. So the two questions are: can Crawford outbox Canelo for 12 rounds? And can he take his power?
Yeah.
That's mainly what it's going to come down to. If he can box him for 12 rounds, which I think he can, I don't think he'll knock out Canelo. If he can box him for 12 rounds, then cool. If he can take Canelo's power, he might win. However, if he can't take Canelo's power, it's long. It's long.
I'm struggling to see a world where Canelo doesn't just bully him, but then I really can't see Crawford getting bullied. I think that the reason this fight becomes interesting is when you consider the age of the two guys.
Yeah.
And then you add the weight in, right? Crawford, I think it's fair to say, is pretty much still in his prime. Like there's no young fighters coming up who you think, oh, that could be like, yeah, Jaron Ennis, but I'd still back Crawford over Ennis. I think Crawford's still fresh and he looks good enough that wouldn't be a massive. It might be difficult, that wouldn't be too difficult. Whereas Canelo is very much coming over that hill. We're talking about the final years of Canelo. Don't get me wrong, he still looks like he can still do 12 rounds, no problem. He still seems to hit pretty hard. I mean, he's not knocked anyone out since 2021, but that's, you kind of read into that what you will. Like, it's not as easy just to knock everyone out. And he's also never knocked everyone out. He's always punched hard. He's 39 knockouts in 65 fights or something, of which he's lost 2 and drawn 1. So it's not like he's not the craziest puncher we've ever seen. In terms of size, that does come into it because we're talking about two guys. We're talking about a guy that's coming up from 154 pounds. He's jumping 14 pounds. He's only had one fight there. He's coming up from welterweight, which is a 21 pound increase in weight just to get to the minimum. So like, he needs to be cutting weight. Generally, the rule is you want to cut 7 pounds before fight week, and then you regain that in hydration. The amount of weight Crawford's got to put on in muscle and be fit is crazy. But Canelo is over that hill a little bit. That's why it's competitive. If Canelo is fresh, if he is able to move with Crawford, which I think he will, and Crawford is a little bit detrimented by that weight, I think this could be an easy fight for Canelo. And I say easy, I mean easier compared to other fights that he's had. We're still talking a much higher level fight than Munguia or Berlanga or, I mean, really many fighters that he's fought, but we're not talking a Mayweather, Bivol, that kind of thing. It's really hard to work out where this ranks in terms of Canelo's career. See, I get that point. Canelo's experience of winning the fight.
Flag up the comment.
I don't know why it's not. There we go. I get the point. Canelo's experience of winning the fight, but we're not talking about Crawford who's like Berlanga and had 20 fights. We're talking Crawford who's had 43 fights. Those fights have included some of the best fighters about. His last fight was Madrimov. The fight before that was Errol Spence. Doesn't matter what you think of Errol Spence. Errol Spence at that time was on level with Crawford. He's done the big venues. He's not afraid to do it. He'll keep like Sean Paul to eat. I mean, his resume, it's not as good as Canelo's, but it's up there. I can see Crawford winning. I think Canelo will do it, but I can see a world where Crawford wins. He's not knocking him out though. I will say that.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, man. I'm saying it's a big ask for Terence. Do you know what? Yeah, for the first time in his career, he will be. The bookies will be against him. He'll be the outside fighter. Not the first time in his career, sorry, but for a long time. Yep. He'll be the guy that everyone's gonna be against him to win this. But I think it's winnable. As I said, providing Canelo's power, he can withstand that, because that's going to be the difference in this fight. It's the power. Canelo is a 168 who can also fight a light heavy and rock it with the light heavyweights. So it's like, I don't know, man. He didn't, and don't get it twisted. He lost against Bivol, but then he rocked it with Kovalev. He beat Kovalev.
Yeah.
A light heavyweight, and when Kovalev was like not over the hill, so it's like it's an interesting fight. I do think this fight, Canelo won't get any. If you can, the only downside to this fight is if Canelo wins, he'll get no recognition for it, but because he's fighting the smaller guy. So, and Canelo said that himself. So it's like,
yeah.
And I'm not saying recognition from me because I think if he beats Terence Crawford, that's an unreal name to have on your record. By the way,
Could be his best win.
that's probably like we talking another one pound for pound, one of the arguably the best fighters right now.
Where would that rank in Canelo's wins? Is that Golovkin level? Is that kind of what we're talking?
Yeah,
It's
I would
difficult
say
because of the weight, but Crawford is pound for pound, arguably number one. Really, it's him, Inoue, or Usyk. Probably Usyk right now because Usyk beat Fury recently, but
I would say so. But
yeah.
people will say afterwards that he's not taking the Benavidez fights. He's not taking. And if Benavidez keeps winning, that fight with Canelo will get bigger. He needs to, as I said to you last week, stop jumping on the verbals of Canelo this, Canelo that. He's fighting, he's winning fights. I don't like the performances, but he's winning. If he gets a title at light heavyweight, that makes the Canelo and him bout very interesting.
Yeah.
But the fight has to be up there because Crawford's like arguably like you're talking like the closest comparison you're going to get in terms of just the impact he's probably had on boxing. The closest comparison you're probably going to get to a Floyd Mayweather, Terence Crawford.
Yeah, with Crawford, we're talking. He's entering GOAT categories now. I mean, he's already kind of there for this period of boxing, as kind of being people will always see him as one of the best. What he did to Spence will always that's going to live on for generations, centuries, really, for what he did to Errol Spence that night, and how fucking cool it was where he came out with the fishnet. Oh my, that night is just unbelievable. He goes to 168 and beats Canelo Alvarez, who we will all talk about in 10 years, 20 years time. Will be like Canelo, crazy fighter.
He becomes a unified middleweight, or super middleweight champion, doesn't he?
Yeah,
that's mental, by the way.
Yeah, and then he's one belt off undisputed. And if he's beaten Canelo, he is taken undisputed. He'll take that IBF, no problem.
Yeah,
if he even cares.
I think if Terence is Terence is probably in a 2-fight deal with Canelo because if he beats Canelo, then Canelo's going to want the rematch.
Yeah, no
by that point, you're talking Terence is what, 38, 37, 38?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I think this will be his last outing if he wins against Canelo. In terms of the 2 fights that are going to probably take precedence for the next year and a half.
Yeah.
Unless, can you go up to win at 168, then go back down and fight Boots Ennis? It don't make any sense.
Yeah, if he fights Boots, he ain't fighting Boots at 146. He's never getting back to 146.
No, but it don't make any sense. Like, you've won at 168, you're now going to go back and fight Boots. Boots is a good fighter, but he needs Crawford a lot more than Crawford needs Boots.
Right now, definitely. Obviously, if what we're hearing is true, I mean, Boots has got a great fight against Stanionis in April 12th. And then what the rumor is that Boots is going to be involved in some little tournament because they're doing loads of these sort of 4-man tournaments.
Yeah.
Winners versus winners, losers versus losers kind of thing. There's a potential that by the end of the year, we're talking Boots has beat Stanionis, massive name, and got in there with like a Virgil Ortiz Jr. at 154. At that point, I think we can call for the Crawford fight and say that makes sense. Whilst Boots is a 147 welterweight champion, whose resume still isn't big enough yet to really justify Crawford coming back and sort of going, all right, I'll fight the young guy. There's no point.
Yeah. If you
What I think we should be considering, by the way, with Canelo, is maybe we are not giving him enough credit, because of 168-pound fighters, does Crawford beat Jaime Munguia? I think he does.
Does Crawford beat Munguia?
Yeah, I think he does. There's no argument.
Yeah. That's that. What we need to really ask is: Does Crawford beat Berlanga? Does Crawford beat Munguia?
Yeah. Does Crawford beat Diego Pacheco? Does Crawford beat Caleb Plant? Does Crawford beat the top guys in that division?
Caleb Plant's a hard fight, by the way.
Caleb Plant's a very hard.
Because I think Caleb Plant beats a lot of them guys that we just mentioned.
I think Caleb Plant beats. I think he probably beat them all. Munguia would be a tough fight for him because Munguia's size, but he probably beats them all. Ultimately, my point is Crawford will enter that division, and I think automatically, not just on pedigree and what he's done in the past and all this stuff, just on skill, already becomes the second best fighter in that division.
Hmm.
And if Canelo's beating the second best fighter in that division, who happens to be Terence Crawford, you can't discredit him when he wins or if he wins. Yeah, I mean, with Boots, it's a bit different. I mean, what can Crawford do? What's left for him? Spence rematch? Jaron Ennis? Another
Jaron, I know people aren't going to like this, yeah? Boxing-wise, I think Ennis is very good, yeah? But when Crawford does what he does with Canelo, what is the incentive in him fighting for an IBF title?
No, of course.
At 150, he's got the IBF title at 147, yeah?
He ain't going back down.
He ain't going back down to 147. How much money does Ennis bring in to fight Crawford? Probably not a lot. No. Right now.
Well, not compared to what Crawford's going to be getting after Canelo. And like you say, there probably will be 2 fights. Crawford's going to make tens of millions.
Yeah.
Canelo's going to make hundreds, but that's the way it is.
It's mad.
I think it's good. I think it's good, but I don't know where either go afterwards, if I'm honest.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if he walks into the sunset after Canelo 2. I just don't think there's a certain level that you get to, and it's like, what has Crawford got to prove to anyone, by the way?
No, nothing.
He's reached the promised land, if we want to call it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
is there an argument for saying that he could have done the same after Spence? After all those years waiting?
No, because the Canelo fight was always there. I genuinely believe that he, in his head, has had for years that he's wanted to fight Canelo.
Right.
He was asked about it. He said he beat him. That was his confident he beat him. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Yeah, I can't see where Crawford goes after this. Win or lose, I don't see what's going to drive him to carry on. We know he's an exceptional athlete, not questioning his character, but the money that he's going to earn in this fight alone, and if he gets the rematch, you're done, man.
He's got no reason to, right? Unless he's still got some hunger to go and become undisputed in the division, and then drop to 160 and win that, and win titles there, and then drop to 154 and win more titles there. But I can't see him doing that. That we're talking like another 3 years in the game after the rematch against Canelo. That's crazy. Well, what about Canelo then? Where would he go? Because I'm thinking about it, and I can't see a world where he fight Crawford and then go back.
I would say Canelo could have retired about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, let's be honest, he could have, but he's carried on. The thing is, there's still the Benavidez fight that if he wants it, which could be bigger, providing Benavidez carries on winning. I spoke to Callum Simpson at Box Park, and he wants Canelo in Barnsley. So he said it to me, man. He said it to me. He said to me, "I want Callum Simpson, but I want Canelo in Barnsley."
I don't know if you're getting Canelo in Barnes.
Anything's possible. I'm back in the Brits here, man. So I'm saying Callum Simpson.
Oh, I'd love it, by the way. Like, imagine that. It'd be the best thing in the world, but I can't see a world where you're
Hey,
getting Canelo in
it's
Barnsley.
too hostile there. He's going to go to Barnsley. It's cold, written off already. In terms of the weather is going to mash him up when he gets to Barnsley. Because Callum, you do that fight in winter, get the weigh-in and press conferences outside.
Yeah.
Throw him off game. Yeah. Callum's a northerner. He's going to walk out, just top off, just do the weigh-in.
Yeah,
You don't feel the cold.
Yeah. Canelo's Mexican. You ain't gonna like that.
Yeah. So, throw him off. But I'm saying, forget that. I'm saying Callum Simpson, Canelo at Barnsley's ground. That's what I'm saying. But no. But that aside, there's fights for him there. Canelo can fight at light heavyweight again. There's the Bivol rematch.
Yeah, he's got Bivol rematch. You've got Beterbiev. You've got Benavidez. You've got Caleb Plant rematch. If Caleb Plant wins the title again, Caleb Plant rematch. I'd love to see that. But then why can't Crawford then look to do all that? If Crawford beats Canelo at 168, what stops him from going to 175? Which would be mental.
He just won, Connor.
I agree, but I think there's a part of Crawford where you can poke him a little bit and you can say you wouldn't beat Bivol, or you wouldn't beat Beterbiev, and that alone is enough for him to go, I fucking will, and go and do it. And I think officially, my official prediction, I think, despite what I said, I think I'm going Crawford's going to win. Which goes against all sensible thinking based on the fact Canelo still looks strong, still looks fast, still punches hard. He's active. Yeah, he's a bit older and clearly not quite. He's not in his prime.
Have you pinned the link, by the way?
There's a link in the. Oh, do you know what? That is a good.
Admin's terrible today, boys, isn't it?
It could be better.
Join. Have your say. I just see that. Pin the link. If you lot want to jump in, have your say. There.
As I said, in the chat. But then something tells me Crawford is just so determined he will do it.
He could do it, but I think that's going to be too much of a jump for him. Like I'm saying.
Do you know what would be interesting? How much did Crawford weigh against Madrimov in the ring? Let's find out. $170. When he walked in against Madrimov, he was 170 pounds. He gained 16.4, which is 2 pounds more than what Madrimov.
All right, when Canelo walks into the ring, just out of curiosity, how much does he gain? And then how much does a light heavyweights gain when they walk into the ring and they can't make that weight?
Hold on. Canelo weight on fight night. No, that's what he weighed in at. That's not right.
But this is the thing. So it's like Crawford's at 170, but then he's fighting the bigger guys who are naturally going to come in probably bigger than what Crawford can get to, innit?
Yeah. Edgar Berlanga was 193 pounds. That's what? He was nearly a cruiserweight. Okay, so he rehydrated 125. Canelo was somewhere between 175 and 180. So Crawford has to be around that 175 pound mark to keep it even. Yeah, that's crazy. That's mental.
So let's not get ahead of ourselves, yeah? Let's get him fighting at 168. Crawford don't need to do nothing after this fight, by the way. Crawford, for me, can retire. That's where I see it as.
Yeah.
There's more fights for
Okay.
Canelo out there after this than there is Crawford, which is mad to say as well because of how long Canelo's been around boxing. I don't actually know how old he is going to be when he packs it in.
I don't know if he will. He kind of screams of a sad situation where he doesn't stop and then he keeps going for too long. Right.
Whilst we're talking about that, can we because we're assuming the Canelo-Crawford we've pretty much covered, and we haven't spoke about it properly. But as we're talking about people retiring, is it not worth mentioning about? I think a good little segment. What the hell is going on with Tyson Fury?
He's retired.
Has he retired though?
Yeah. Do you not think he has?
No. He's done this before.
He's never done it after a loss.
He's got bipolar. I don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
Do you see where I'm coming from? You've frozen again. Are you back?
No, I understand. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but I think this time's a bit different.
It's very strange the way he's
been
done it.
telling his wife.
Honestly, it's very strange.
Yeah, true. But
I
he's been
think there's a
telling
lot more
Paris for
behind it than we're
years he's
being
gonna
told.
retire.
And I think he's fallen out of a lot of people as well.
Maybe.
I think he might have fallen out with maybe the Saudis a little bit. Wasn't happy with the way that went or how it was dealt with.
Yeah.
He put a subliminal message in when he retired. I just don't think Tyson Fury's done. I think Joshua's going to fight Bakole in the summer. That's confirmed. He's fighting Bakole in Congo. I've heard that's already signed, apparently. It's not been announced, but it's already been signed.
I've read that, but then I've also heard Joshua's negotiating with Wilder. Ben Shalom has said that the Bakole fight is signed.
But
Well,
Bakole said that. Bakole said that as well. I didn't ask him that, but he said that on the day to another media outlet.
I mean, that'd be amazing.
But then I'm saying, if Joshua comes through Bakole, I'm saying December, Wembley Stadium, Tyson Fury and Joshua.
Yeah.
I'm just not convinced he's retired, Connor.
I get it. And then the fact I think if you put 200 million on the table and say to Fury, fight Joshua, he'll get back in the ring. But I think this is a bit different. I think the fact is he should have retired or was meant to retire after he beat Dillian White. And that didn't happen. And that was 2019. No, it can't be 2019. That was 2021 or whatever.
For longer than that. As long as definitely not 2019. You're only talking pre-COVID, you know.
22.
Yeah.
2019 is way too long ago. But so he's meant to retire in 2022. It's 2025 now. He's just been beaten by Usyk for the second time in a row, convincingly, maybe even more convincingly than the first. And he's got a family, man. I don't know. He's still got his head. He's not punch drunk. Or doesn't seem punch drunk. And he's made so much money. It's going to be hard to entice that kind of guy out. But you never know, because I saw Oliver McCall won his second fight since return at 59 years old. So who knows? But I think this is a bit different this time. I could be wrong, and I kind of hope I am wrong for the sake of the Anthony Joshua fight.
Let me ask you a question, Connor.
Yeah.
So we talk about Canelo. We spoke about Terence and Canelo. Spoke about Tyson Fury, who I think's not done.
Yeah.
Do you honestly think? Yeah. Whilst we're on it, I'll just ask your opinion. Does Joshua beat Bakole?
No.
You don't think?
No. I'd love him to. Although I actually really like Bakole as well. Martin Bakole seems like a really cool guy.
He's a giant as well, by the way.
Yeah.
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 I got to be careful how I word this, Connor. But I'm gonna go, and we're gonna try.
Right.
When he walked into the room, and I seen him in the corner because why he was there. One of his guys was fighting on Boxer.
Yeah.
Had a stoppage.
Yeah.
So one of his guys was fighting on Boxer. When he walked over, I didn't realize how tall he was, and he's quite like you know like how how do I put it? He's tall, but he's not like this. A lot of people go on about his shape and stuff like that in terms of the way he looks, but he looked quite trim, and I just think he's an absolute monster that Bakole. But then Joshua's definitely the same as well because I've seen Joshua before, so it's like it's an interesting fight. But Joshua's going to be predominantly a quicker boxer than Bakole, but then Bakole will hit with big shots that will stun Joshua, or has the potential to even stop him. I even think Bakole might carry the same or similar power to Dubois.
Bakole potentially carries more. The only reason you wouldn't say it yet is Bacole's not knocked out the people that Dubois has. Bacole's a scary fighter. He is avoided. Like, he is the most avoided guy in the division. I would love if AJ is fighting Bakole, then you can just like, for me, that makes AJ the great, not the best, definitely not the best. The best of this generation is Usyk. No if buts maybes. Undisputed is Usyk. But the greatest would be Anthony Joshua, hands down, if he's getting in there with Bakole.
Mm.
And he might not win that fight. I don't know how that fight goes. It could be that Bakole maybe doesn't take a punch from someone as powerful as Joshua. He's never been in there with someone as powerful as Joshua.
Mm.
So there's a chance that Bakole gets hit by Joshua and suddenly it's like, oh, okay, this guy is not as good as we thought in terms of his chin. But I can't see a world where one of Bacole's really controlled but wild, long punches comes in, clatters Joshua, and I really can't see Joshua recovering from that. That's why if that fight is happening, then that's why Joshua's the greatest of this division, just because of this era, because he keeps getting in there with these fights. He's done Usyk. He's been wanting to fight Wilder for years. He clearly wants the Fury fight.
Listen, I'm a Joshua fan, yeah, but he can't be the greatest of this generation.
No, I'm not saying the great. I'm saying the greatest in terms of his attitude and the way he represents.
Yeah. But there's
not the greatest. The best is Usyk. Usyk is the best. I'm saying greatest in terms of representation as an ambassador.
100%.
He's getting in there. He went for Dubois. Right, Dubois, the young guy who's hungry and has punch power like nobody else. Then he wants it. He got in there with Ruiz on 3 weeks' notice, which people take the piss for. But Ruiz was a serious fighter.
Ruiz is one of the hot. I do need to mention this as well because Andy Ruiz gets a lot of stick. Yeah, but let's look at Andy Ruiz. Forget physically or aesthetically what he looks like. Andy Ruiz, yeah. I'm just going to pull this up because I need to get this right. Yeah. If you are talking about Andy Ruiz, 35 fights, he's lost twice, drawn once. Yeah. His amateur record is a bit of a joke, although it's not fully recorded on BoxRec, but he's actually had a lot of amateur fights. They're undefeated as well. What I'm trying to get at is here, Andy Ruiz, for his size, is a very fast puncher.
Yeah.
You don't have 38 bouts, lose 2 of them and draw 1. Yeah, being who Ruiz is, if he's not a decent boxer, innit? Let's have it right. So for me, it's not like it was a shock Joshua lost, but let's not take anything away from Ruiz. He's not just a fat guy boxing, because I think that's the conception people give. If you really understand boxing and really understand how good of a boxer, speed wise, Ruiz even throws punches. It's a joke. I've seen an interview before where one of the boxers were talking about like the hardest hitting Joseph Parker said one of the hardest hitting guys that he was with in the ring was Andy Ruiz.
Yeah.
Joseph Parker said that. So it's like, yeah, that thing about Joshua and Ruiz at 3 weeks' notice, like Joshua, it was a shock, but I think Ruiz in boxing gets a lot of credit taken away with him because people have a really just basic conception that he's just fat.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, to train the way you do, and if you've ever boxed, it's not easy to get in a ring, prepare yourself for 12 rounds, and you're not physically fit to do it. Not any fat guy can get in the ring and do that. Just want to point that out.
No. Yeah. You're right though. The way he looks is like seriously. That's why people take the piss. But he's an elite fighter. I don't know what's going on with him now, but he was at that point, and for a while after and before, he was an elite fighter. Yeah, Joshua Bakole would be huge. If it's in Congo, Rumble in the Jungle Part 2 would be very cool.
Doesn't have the same effect, but I get why. I can see why they're trying to do.
Yeah, it'd be if there was a title on the line.
This is what I said the other day.
Then maybe, I mean, that would be insane. Both of them going for a world title. Also, AJ to be 3-time, like Muhammad Ali, Rumble in the Jungle. In the same situation where you kind of got Bakole gets compared to Foreman. You got AJ, who's the leaner fighter, who people don't think can win the fight. I mean, the storyline on that is just ridiculous. No world title. The storyline's still cool, but it's not the same. But yeah, if they're doing it in Congo, that's nuts. That's a proper.
But bearing in mind, if Bakole beats a Jagbar, he's the mandatory for the IBF.
Yeah.
So
and he will be a Jagbar.
So when, however you want to see it, he beats Jagbar, which I think he will, but it's mad that he's going to be the mandatory for the IBF, but he'd rather take the Joshua fight. Because let's have it right, and I go back to this point again. Daniel Dubois doesn't command the money that Joshua does for a fight. No. It's really that simple. And
not even close.
And not even close. Not even close. Better boxer, of course. Now, yeah, he beat him. That's fine. But Joshua can walk away from this and not really have to worry about not making enough money to fight on his next card because he still will sell out an arena. Joshua sells out a stadium on his own, like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
he does.
I don't know if I can say the same thing about Daniel Dubois.
No. Dubois needs the dance partner. Joshua is the one that just doesn't even need anyone. Just Joshua sells it. I am hearing talks Joshua versus Wilder is also being spoken about, but I have heard that the Bakole fight is signed. That is only from Bakole's team. Well, Ben Shalom, and now you're saying Mark Bakole said as well, which is kind of even more proof, but we'll see. I think boxing this year is going to be mental. We're just kind of waiting for it to get started. One of the things that is happening this week is Derek Chisora versus Otto Wallin. We're not going to spend too much time on it, but I think it's worth mentioning. Chisora's a bit of a legend, he is a legend for British boxing. Otto Wallin's coming back, notably from his loss against Joshua. Realistically, Otto Wallin should win this fight.
I think Chisora beats Otto Wallin.
but Chisora's got that. I'm ending my career soon. I want to go out on a high. I'm just going to go crazy. I think Otto Varlin's going to beat. I'd love Chisora.
Do you want to know what the biggest problem with Chisora is when you fight Chisora? Unless you're able to mentally deal with the mind games, I think he catches people before the fight starts.
Yeah.
Dillian White being the exception, and obviously people he lost against in the past, be it David Haye, a few others. But Derek Chisora is a mental war game. It's not even just a fight. Fighting Derek Chisora is a mental war game. Do you not agree?
No, it is. He's crazy. You never know what he's going to do. He's also on a really good run of fights. He's beat Joe Joyce. He then lost to Fury, beat Pulev, lost to Parker. I mean, Gerald Washington doesn't really count for anything. But I think... I don't think this is going to be a fairy tale. Otto Varlin is an elite fighter. People just think because of the way Joshua dismantled him and because of the timing of the Fury fight that maybe people kind of discredit him. Otto Varlin's elite level, I think. I want Chisora to win. Chisora's wild kind of overhands, non-stop pressure. Not dirty, but kind of knows how to bend the rules in his way and in his favor without getting points deducted. Like, could do it for him.
I think you've got to be a certain kind of aura character to fight Chisora, and I just don't think Otto Wallin's that guy. I really don't.
No, you got to have a calmness. That's the worry, is the mentality of.
Look at the guys. Look at some of the guys he's lost against. Yeah, you see, that guy is he is. When it comes to mind games, if there was a god somewhere in somebody's mythology there is of mind games, that's Alexander Usyk. Anyone that tries to spring it on him, he's got Uno reverse cards for fun. David Price, quite a level-headed guy who also beat Chisora.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, Chisora. David Price. No, apologies. Chisora beat David Price. Who am I thinking of? Joseph Parker, sorry. Parker, right. Split decision. But again, Joseph Parker, level-headed. Then he's lost against Ajit Caballero as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's been in there with everyone.
He's lost against David Haye. David Haye was and will forever be just a shit talker. He's very good at boxing. So Chisora met, I think, his match fight in David Haye at the time they fought. And then obviously you go on to Fury, who again, that's a prince of mind games. So you can't Uno reverse him. Does any of those guys that I just mentioned, in terms of character, does Otto Wallin possess anything that they've got mentally?
It doesn't feel like it. The
He
thing Otto Wallin does have is he's a southpaw, he hits reasonably hard, and he boxes well.
Otto Wallin,
is that enough to beat Chisora? I don't know.
Chisora isn't looking to dominate a fight round for round. Chisora's there for the moments. And in those moments is where he's very good at catching you and throwing you off. So Chisora is a dangerous opponent for him at any age. And as I said to you, the mental mind games that he's playing with Wallin already, I just think that he's got him. He's actually got him at the moment. He done the same thing with Joe Joyce.
Yeah, true.
The same thing with Joe Joyce. It's a mental war game fighting Chisora, and I just don't think Otto Wallin's up to it. And I think it will maybe get him to lose focus or put his energy into rock. And as well, I don't think Otto Wallin is as of a superior boxer than, say, to Chisora. So I think it's quite an even contest going off for me, who I've never thought Otto Wallin was like blows you out of the water. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I've got Chisora winning, man. Del Boy's winning this one.
I want Chisora to win, so I'm going to go with him. But I wouldn't be surprised if it went the other way. Here we go. Right, we're back on the Canelo-Crawford for one last time tonight. If Bud beats Canelo, can we consider him the GOAT? Yes, you can. You can already consider him kind of goated in his own way. If he goes up to 168 pounds, scales 2 divisions, but really 3, then he is the GOAT. I think. I mean, we're talking him or Mayweather, really. You can have your Sugar Ray Robinsons and all this, but the problem is that undefeated record is always going to come into play, right? That's why you can't argue with Mayweather when people say, "Oh, Mayweather to go," because Mayweather never lost. Who does Mayweather? Oh, Mayweather versus this person. Well, this person has a loss, so Mayweather wins.
Terence Crawford beats Canelo in September. Terence Crawford is the great GOAT, one of the GOATs. It depends on what generation you want to talk. And I say that with certain things because we have to take into consideration. When you're saying greatest of all time, you're putting him above guys like Muhammad Ali.
I mean, in terms of the actual boxing,
I would agree, but I don't know. Yeah, as I said, there's many guys out there that even greatest of all time. Are we saying that if he beats Canelo, he's above Floyd? Probably not.
Really?
Above Floyd.
I mean, Floyd is. It's your opinion.
Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo at 36 years old.
Okay. So is that more impressive, or is it more? Or is it more impressive for Crawford to go up, really from welterweight to super middleweight, and beat Canelo?
How many divisions has Floyd gone up?
He did 5. Is Crawford not already on that? Has Crawford not done 4? Would this not be 5?
Listen, I'm saying to you, all right, I'm taking McGregor's win off, by the way. I'm taking McGregor's win off.
Yeah, he's 49 now.
Floyd Mayweather is 49-0.
Yeah.
The wins, what he's done, who he's beat, the fighters he's been in there with, like Terence Crawford, he's up there. But Floyd's resume is a joke, by the way. It's a joke. Just because of the time and generation. I get it. Different generation, different fighters. So you can't compare the resumes because Terence Crawford couldn't fight them guys just because of time, right? So calling him a GOAT of all time, I think, is really difficult. But he's one of the GOATs.
My problem is I think he could beat Canelo, then beat him again in the rematch. I think the rematch, I'd favour Crawford even more heavily because he would have time at that weight to get used to it. And like we've seen, Crawford's age isn't playing a part just yet. Canelo's age is slowly playing that part.
Can I just say one thing to you as well?
Yeah.
Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather at 24 years old. Bearing in mind, Canelo's record at 24 was 43-0.
Yeah.
He wasn't a novice. He was not a novice by any stretch. 43. He's at 24. That guy had the same amount of wins as what Terence Crawford's on now, right?
Yeah.
Given Terence Crawford probably fought some mostly high level opponents in terms of just the guys that were put in front of him, right? Yeah. But Canelo was nowhere near a novice. What Floyd Mayweather done to Canelo, bearing in mind Floyd Mayweather was 36 years old, I think is more impressive, just my opinion, than if Terence Crawford beats Canelo. Now, that's just my opinion.
I think it's close because of the weight, because he's gone up so far in weight. And not just going up in that weight, but this is where Canelo is king and has been king for the last 6 years. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think in the comments. We're putting this into another video on its own because we have to. This will be the biggest fight of the year. Arguably, this is the only fight that could rival the AJ Fury fight. is Canelo-Crawford, and we are getting it. Comment down below. I think that's everything for this week. That's everything for this week. So, Paolo, if you would like to do an outro.
Like, share, subscribe, comment below. Make sure you're following Hook Casuals as well. We're doing weekly shows. They are normally every Thursday at 7:45. However, this week we've had to do it today at a time of 9 o'clock. But catch us every Thursday at 7:45, where we're breaking down weekly boxing news. The link will always be in the comments. You can join, have your say. Just kind of done it a bit late today, but we're back next week, and we're back, and the streams are good, and we are not stinking the gaff out. That is the main thing. No. Good night, people.